I know some people are mad about Nintendo Switch 2 pricing, but fret not, because Sony has stepped up their pricing. It's Sunday, and it's WrestleMania Sunday, so it's gotta be sensational. I'm Mike, and I'm back to talk about the gaming news. I don't know who that was supposed to be. And this week, we're kicking it off with the PS5. So last week, while we were talking about the Switch 2 and Nintendo possibly losing money on the consoles, depending on what happens with the tariff situation, which I'm not even gonna get into this week because it's still a mess. Anyway, I mentioned that Sony and Microsoft raised prices previously in other countries outside of the US. Well, it was poor timing on my part because Sony has announced another price increase for the PS5 and PlayStation Plus in several regions. Starting with PlayStation Plus, Sony announced on April 9th that they were increasing prices of PlayStation Plus in 18 countries, and then a week later, they also announced they were increasing the price in Canada. All the articles I looked at only had the price differences for Canada. So for Canada, the essential tier is going from $95 to $110. The extra tier is going from $155 to $190, and the premium tier is going from $190 to $255. So it's a pretty big increase overall. I think the worst one is essential just because you basically need it to play online, whereas extra and premium just gives you libraries of games you can play as long as you have the subscription. Now, as far as the console pricing, that's only changing in Europe, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So in Europe and the UK, they're seeing a price increase for the digital PS5 only, and in Australia and New Zealand, both the digital and physical consoles are going up. When converting the price to US dollars, it seems like it's going up around $50 to $60 in these regions. Sony basically said the reason they increased console prices were due to high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates. They did, however, lower the price of the disk drive add-on in those regions. Now, Sony did raise prices back in 2022, but like with this increase, we didn't see an increase in the US. But with everything going on right now, with the tariffs and revenue in the gaming industry being down in general, it's hard to say if we'll finally see price increases in the US, but I wouldn't rule it out completely. Microsoft also did similar price increases before with the Xbox Series a couple of years ago, so I expect them to follow suit as well. And speaking of the Xbox, they've added another new feature to their consoles. So Microsoft announced last year that they were adding the ability to stream games that you own instead of just games that are part of Game Pass. They rolled out this feature on TVs and in browsers in November, but they hadn't rolled out the feature on console just yet, aside from the users who are testing it. Well, Microsoft has officially rolled out the feature to consoles. Now, of course, it's still limited to what games can be streamed. There's only around 100 games that are supported right now, and you have to be subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate to use this feature. I'm not sure how much people would use this feature on console, but I could see it being useful for games that don't require fast reaction times. I can also see people using it maybe if they want to play a game while you're waiting for a game to download. Either way, it's an extra feature that you can utilize if you have Game Pass Ultimate and an Xbox, of course. But I guess you don't necessarily have to have an Xbox to play Xbox games. You could probably play some on the upcoming Switch too. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about today. And our final story. It's really been exhausting talking about the Switch 2 and the whole pre-order fiasco, but it looks like it's finally over as Nintendo has announced that retail pre-orders for the US and Canada will start on April 24th. Nintendo basically postponed pre-orders while they were trying to figure out what they were going to do in relation to the tariffs that were put in place, and then paused, then restarted, then paused again, or whatever is currently happening with the tariffs. Anyway, the price of the consoles are staying the same at $450 for the Switch 2 and $500 for the Mario Kart bundle. But while the price of the console is staying the same, Nintendo is raising the price of Switch 2 accessories. So for example, the Pro Controller, Joy-Con 2, and the camera are going up by $5, the dock set is going up by $10, and even small accessories like the carrying case and the AC adapter are increasing in price. Basically, it looks like everything is increasing by $5 to $10, and this seems like a better strategy than raising the price of the console itself, especially because people were already unhappy about the price of the console. But I wouldn't get too excited about the price staying the same for now, because depending on what happens with the tariffs, we could still see a price increase for the console. Well, except for the Mario Kart bundle, because it's probably not going to be available by that time. So Nintendo did a Mario Kart live stream last week, and they mentioned that the Mario Kart bundle was only going to be available until fall of this year. They didn't give an exact date, but it's weird that they're getting rid of it right around the holidays, unless they're planning on releasing a different bundle, which is probably what they're going to do. It's possible they may do something like a Metroid Prime 4 bundle, since the Switch 2 edition of that game has the option to run at 120 frames per second, so that could be a good showcase game for the Switch 2, especially showing off the high refresh rate. It does feel a little bit weird with them getting rid of the bundle, because I feel like the Mario Kart bundle for Switch 1 was like perpetually available, but we'll see what their holiday plans are and if the bundle returns in the future. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are you going to take the fights to the bots on Thursday to try to get you a Switch 2 pre-order? Again, let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing wherever it is to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And I always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.